Imagine paying $70 for a new video game. You expected a finished world, working controls, and a game made with care. And what you may not see is the developer's final boss, the release calendar. And some developers spend weeks working nights and weekends, missing family time, and losing sleep, sometimes without receiving additional pay. And my name's Alex Freeman, and we're going to be talking about crunch culture. A game should challenge the player, but making it should not damage the people behind it. I'm starting to work in the game development industry. Love games, but loving the work should not give the company unlimited access to a worker's life. I surveyed 6 classmates, and 4 out of the 6 had never heard of crunch culture, and all 6 were concerned about prolonged mandatory overtime, and 4 especially wanted to hear how the industry could fix it. The video game studios should limit mandatory overtime and guarantee fair compensation and adjust a game's scope or release date before sacrificing an employee's health. Crunch is more than staying late one time. It is extended, often mandatory overtime, used to push a game toward release. In 2021, a peer-reviewed article published by Amanda Coe and Brandon Harris found that developers often treat crunch as inevitable because the passion and perfectionism are considered part of their identity, and the hours can become extreme. According to the Game Developers Conference in 2020, the industry survey, 44% of responders averaged more than 40 hours per week. Some individuals reported exceeding 80 hours. So here on this chart, you'll see that it compares a standard 40-hour work week with a 55-hour work week. And then you got the threshold of the extreme 90-hour crunch reported work week by the GDC. 90 hours, a developer would be working more than twice a standard 40-hour week. And in 2015, a peer review study published by the organization of Amanda, Patricia Harris, Jonathan Wester, and Stephen McKenna documented the harm that extreme work causes developers and their families trouble. They also challenged the belief that long hours are necessary to create a successful game. And in 2021, the World Health Organization and International Labor Organization study published in Environmental International found that higher heart diseases and stroke risk among people working these long hours, especially 55 hours per week, were more contributed to heart conditions. And 745,000 deaths happened because of that in 2016. Now, game developers, they know this. Research shows that extreme long hours, work weeks can be a hazard and not simply an inconvenience. But crunch can also hurt the game it is supposed to save. Exhausted programmers, artists, testers can miss details, create additional work that must be fixed later. More hours do not automatically create more quality. So why does crunch continue? Features take longer than expected, bugs break other systems, and publishers sometimes announce release dates too early instead of changing the deadline or reducing features. Studios borrow additional hours from their employees, and they think that's okay. And the workplace culture also keeps that crunch alive. 2 people in my survey used the version of the phrase, "You know what you signed up for," but they were also expressing concerns about forced overtime. This shows how normalized that expectation has become, and the solution is not to ban every extra hour. Occasional overtime may be understandable when employees receive notice, compensation, and recovery time. Now, a realistic anti-crunch policy should have 3 parts. First, the studio should limit required work to 50 hours per week and no more than 2 consecutive overtime weeks. Employees should be allowed to report scheduling problems or decline unsafe hours without retaliation or being told they're disloyal or feeling disloyal. Second, every required overtime hour should be compensated through overtime pay, which is normally state mandated, or a clearly scheduled paid time off. A free dinner at an office is not fair compensation for losing a night after night with your family. And then third, the studio could build extra time and a regular scope of those reviews into production. If a project falls behind, management should add staff early, reduce features, or even delay the release instead of automatically just demanding more hours. So some people will argue that creative projects are unpredictable and delays cost money, and this is true. But however, unpredictability is why the studios need scheduling buffers, not unlimited access to the employees' time. Players can also influence the culture. So this is how you can do that. Before your next pre-order, search the studio's name along with crunch and working conditions. And if the company has repeatedly mistreated their workers, reconsider giving them your money. Support the studios that protect their employees, even if that means accepting a delayed game. Crunch harms workers, can weaken games, and survives because unlimited sacrifice has been treated as normal. Written overtime limits, fair compensation, and better scheduling offer a workable solution. And so the next time a game is delayed, remember that the developers are not machines. A game should challenge the player, not destroy the people who made it. It is time to stop treating crunch culture as part of the game.